There are a couple of things that I want everybody to know about the Kamma caste, especially people in North India or in other states like Kerala or Orissa, West Bengal. Now, since the last 40 to 50 years, for everybody in the country, Kamma caste is synonymous with the Telugu Desam party. So all Kammas, 90% support TDP, and TDP is the Kamma party. And everybody thinks that before N.T. Ramarao Garu that there was no Kamma leader. It has become such a huge media brainwashing situation that for even a lot of the portion of the current generation of my caste, it's become like that before NTR, after NTR, like before Christ, after Christ, like AD or BC kind of thing. That there was no Kamma leader before N.T. Ramarao Garu, and that his family is like the kind of royal family or something, and that they rule the entire caste or state or South India or something like that. But before them, there was no powerful Kamma leader whatsoever. Now, this kind of brainwashing, especially of the Kamma youth and much of the country, is because of the Kamma monopoly on the cinema lobby, the movie lobby, Tollywood, and because most of the South Indian news channels, I think 80 to 90% of all mainstream media outlets, newspapers, TV channels, all kinds of press is owned by Kammas. So 10-15 years ago, before the advent of social media, my caste had a total monopoly on the South Indian media, like the CCP has in China or North Korea, has in North Korea. So that was the amount of power we had over the media. So they created this narrative of before NTR, after NTR. I want to clarify two things. Me being from the old Kamma aristocracy, I want to tell you that N.T. Ramarao Garu and Nara Chandrababu Naidu Garu, their families, they are Chinna Kamma. They were from regular, normal, middle class Kamma families, small landlords. They were not nobility, they were not royalty. They were not kings, they were not great warlords. They didn't fight the British, the Mongols, or the Turks. In the last 1000 years, their history only started like in the last 40-50 years. So they were normal people in the caste. Even though Kamma is the largest ruling caste in South India, they come from the ruling caste. I'm not saying they're not. And I have great respect for both of them. But the facts are this, that they come from landlord families, not ruling class families, not royal families. And there are more than 100 ruling families, royal families, imperial dynasties in the Kammas that are equal or if not greater than Chhatrapati Shivaji's family or the Mughal dynasty of Akbar and Babur. But as you know, the media has brainwashed everybody into thinking before NTR, after NTR kind of a thing. So, even after democracy started, and most of the people don't know that democracy was there in India since 1919, they call it the diarchy. It's not democracy didn't happen in 1947. Independence happened in 1947. Democracy in India started in 1919. So ever since the advent of democracy, after 1919, many Kamma leaders became very powerful. People forget that the first Kamma chief minister was Munuswami Naidu, one of the lords of northern Tamil Nadu. He was an aristocrat, he was a jamindar, and he was my great-grandfather's friend. Bolini Munuswami Naidu is the first Kamma chief minister. And there are many Kamma ministers, and many people don't even realize that people like Jagarlamudi Kuppuswamy Chowdhury, they were politicians. They were elected to the then state assemblies and whatnot. The cross between MLA and MLC type of government that existed then. And after independence, N.G. Rangaji was one of the most powerful leaders. I mean, he was the head of a party that was in power in many states. He was a more powerful politician at his peak than N.T. Ramarao Garu. And people are forgetting that. So the narrative that before NTR and after NTR is utterly false. And the most powerful man in the Kamma caste in the last 200 years is the last king of Amaravati, my grandfather's grandfather's grandmother's brother, Raja Vasireddy Venkatadri Naidu, the king of Amaravati, who fought a war with the British, the French, and the Nizam. He is the most powerful man and he is the king. He is the actual Maharaja. And he was the titulary inheritor of the Vengi Chalukya Narayana title, which made him heir to the throne of Andhra and Rayalaseema, the eastern Chalukya region. And also he was an heir to the throne of the Kakatiya dynasty. Because of the line of succession from Musunuri Kapinid through maternal lineage, he was the inheritor of the Kakatiya imperial title, even though he never claimed it. The Kakatiya dynasty is the first family and the most important royal family in the Kammas. And now I can bet that nobody who's seeing this video in Kammas exactly knows how many different families are actually directly descendant from the Kakatiya dynasty in Kammas who are below the age of 30. I mean, if you ask the middle-aged man or the grandfathers, they might know, but below the age of 30, I don't think a single person would be able to recollect every single Kamma family that is descended from the Kakatiyas right now. So, who was the most powerful Kamma man in the last 500 years? It was the High King of Rayalaseema, Pemmasani Ramalinga Naidu. He single-handedly defeated the Turkic invasions of South India. And we are considering a movie family, a cinema actor family, as a great leader. When we have men in the Kamma caste who led armies of hundreds of thousands of soldiers against national invaders and fought them off. So, the grandson of the man who actually led an army of 300,000 soldiers to war and defeated an invasion force of 500,000 soldiers has no value, while the grandson of a movie star is the leader of the caste. And both are the same caste. This is not right. In North India, the Rajputs, the Thakurs, a lot of the old ruling aristocracy. Look at Rajasthan, look at Madhya Pradesh, look at Uttar Pradesh. Out of the 550 principalities that were individual kingdoms before democracy, before independence of 1947, there are at least 300 royal families who are still maintaining their stature and power and getting the respect from society. And they are all MLAs, MPs over the north. Now my question is, why are the general population in the Kammas so disconnected with the old Kamma aristocracy? Like Salapal Raja, Sarva Raidu, the Jamindars in Arcot, or even in Tamil Nadu, or other rulers in Rayalaseema. There are so many, dozens of Kamma families. Kasaragad Raja, the Jamindars in Ongol. My cousin's great-grandfather, the Jamindar of Danakonda. Or my own family, who was the Jamindars of North, West and Eastern Palnad. I don't understand, how this happened mostly in South India. It's not just happened in the Kamma caste. Most of the ruling aristocracy of the Reddys in Andhra region are also suffering the same way, but in Telangana they're not. In Telangana, a lot of the Velamas and Reddys from the old families are still doing very well. But in Andhra, in Tamil Nadu, and in certain regions in Kerala, the old aristocracy for almost all of the ruling castes, since the last 30-40 years at least, has been completely cut off from the general population. But Karnataka is doing a lot better. I am saying this because the kings of India, the rulers of this nation, we're not like European royals who sat in some castles and enjoyed our life before the French Revolution. We were the people who actually fought and died and bled for this nation before the freedom fighters of 19th century, before the freedom fighters like Bhagat Singh or Subhash Chandra Bose. It was our armies and our forefathers who fought the invaders perpetually for the last 700 years. And these great kings like Raja Vasireddy Venkataja Naidu or Pemmasani Ramalinga Naidu are the reason Hinduism still exists in Andhra Pradesh. Are the reason that South India has not been invaded and destroyed by foreign powers. We have kept these countries safe for more than 1,000 years. Now forget about all the great Kammas of the 13th century, 11th century, 8th century, 7th century. If I go back and tell you every great king and warlord and emperor in the Kamma caste, that would be a huge list that will take me 2 hours or 3 hours to read. And all these men, they have contributed more to the nation, to society, to the welfare of everybody, all castes, all creeds, all people, and to the religion at large. than anybody has done after democracy, after independence. I'm only asking you to respect the old order. We are not America. India is built on the shoulders of the old world. We are the oldest country in the history of the world, and we are the oldest civilization in the history of the world. Even 10,000 years ago, we had cities in Andhra Pradesh. 12,000 years ago, we had cities and apartment buildings in Andhra Pradesh. And today, fine. But this video is not about all that. My video here is about recognizing that the Kamma caste has hundreds of potential leaders and alternatives and great men, smart, intelligent, resourceful, hardworking men who come from very well reputed families, who are not from the cine industry, who have fought for and bled for and died for this nation, who come from families that have fought for and died for this nation, that can repair the state, that can lead the state.